Welcome to part 2 of E-MTB Reviews Mid-Powered Bike Shootout. If you haven't seen part 1, it talks about the climbing ability, the power, the support, the speed, the range of each one of these bikes using our semi-scientific testing. So click over here and here are the results of that. The true standouts are the Ora Rise 60 bikes, the Shuttle SL, the Heckler SL, and the Transition Relay. So in part 2 of the shootout, we're going to focus on the descending. How good do these bikes jump, corner, do gnarly terrain? We're also going to talk about the packaging. Which one is more stealthy? No one wants to look like a motorcycle, right? Especially in this genre. How many sizes do they have for these bikes? We're also going to discuss little things like the electronics integration, which one has an extender, which one has good switches, a computer display, and whatnot. And finally, we're going to talk about dealer support and price points available. How low can they go, and how well will your local dealer support you if they're available at all. All right, so we're going to go bike by bike on this. And the first bike we're going to cover is the Tre Fuel Exe. 140, 150 millimeters to travel, and descending ability is incredible. I'm super impressed. It's one of the best riding trek bikes that I own. So, it just handles well, and even in stock configuration, really kind of what you want a trail e-bike to do, meaning support you in comfort, but when it's time to jump, time to get active, it really boogies. So pretty darn good. As far as packaging, it is one of the most stealthiest e-bikes ever made, especially when it was introduced 1 or 2 years ago. Really just smashing this, just hiding. The TQ motor is so small, and the way they put in the battery, they have one of the smallest batteries, 360 watt hour. So really good. Extender batteries, it took a while. Extender batteries, it's kind of a trend. They always take a while, but now it's available. Not that big, 160 watt hours, but it is now available. Kind of expensive, over $500. And finally, Trek dealer support. I would rate as A plus. A lot of Trek dealers out there for sure. You can get this thing serviced, and e-bikes are a big part of their business now, so they're gonna know what to do. Fuel Exe, a true contender. Next bike in the line is the Specialized Levo SL Generation 2, 150, 160 millimeters to travel. And let me tell you, I've just been riding this today, past couple days. I would say this is probably the best descending bike of the lot. Not the gnarliest, but it is so balanced. It is so supple, more comfortable than the Trek. It's just a more refined version of the Levo suspension, and it's 40 pounds. Instead of 50 pounds or 52 pounds, it's 40 pounds. So, man, so easy to change direction. It's got a trick up its sleeve in that it has a mullet wheel size, 27 on the rear, but you can change that to 29er. And they do that by lengthening the chainstay with a little flip chip. And speaking of adjustability, you adjust your ride height as well, aside from the chainstay, and you adjust your head angle. Now, in terms of stealth looks and available sizes, the looks, pretty darn good, much better looking than the Levo because the motor is not like tilted upwards where you have a huge box. So pretty darn stealthy. The battery is much smaller, 320 watt hours, and the down tube is smaller. On sizes is the best for Specialized. They have 6 sizes, S1 to S6, and it's really just a revolution what they've pulled off. And now we're expecting that kind of thing from the other companies. So for my size, I can do S2, S3, or S4. Basically, I'm just choosing my reach that I want. And then the electronics, the packaging and whatnot, it is dialed. Version 2 means they know what they're doing. They have an extender battery, and then the components, pretty darn good. They have a lot of SRAM components. No Shimano, unfortunately, not the best brakes, but it's worked with the transmission. SRAM's no compromise right now. The only caveat on this bike is the price points are pretty high. 14 grand, 11 grand, I believe 9 grand. And there used to be like a 6 grand or 7 grand Levo SL. That's old stuff. That's generation 1. And finally, dealer support. the Specialized dealer is probably the best. You know, with in conjunction with Trek, there's a lot of them and they know what they're doing. In terms of weaknesses, I would say the battery, 320 watt hours, is a major weakness of this bike. It's the smallest of the lot, and the extender, at least it has an extender, but it is 160. Orbea has like a 240 or 250 watt extender. That's kind of the way to go. All right, next bike on the line is the Pivot Shuttle SL. The climbing challenge, very darn good. 40 pounds for this bike with pedals. Descending, nice descender, but it's I would say the least capable of this whole lot, because it's 130, 150 millimeters to travel, and it's kind of supported, kind of harsh. So it's kind of not, I keep saying XC, but it's more like down country trail. So, if that's what you want, boom, you're done. But I don't think that's what most people want. I think they made a little mistake. I think they tried to separate it from the Shuttle AM, but really what people want is a Shuttle AM, just light. Nothing wrong with that. That would be a dream bike. People want travel in this category. So that's one weakness. And the fact that it's 29er wheels, kind of long, means it's not as easy to get around corners as like a Levo SL. If you're looking for a fast trail down country bike, this is it. But for most people who are looking for something really capable they can take anywhere, little hit there on the Shuttle SL. As far as stealth packaging, it's very square here, so not as nice, but it is small. It's a small package, and the Fatsuwa is very handy down there. As far as sizing, good sizing available, but like I said, the reach is kind of long. But I think they should have a mullet for the extra small folks. The shorter folks. 29er is just not going to work. A couple other things is the extender availability, electronics integration. Extender, it's ready for an extender. I think you plug it in, but there's no extender. So if that ever comes, I believe it's a 200 watt hour. This is going to be like boom. It's going to happen. As far as electronics integration, this is where Fatsuwa is weak. It has this 5 light situation here on top on this weird little thing with a USB port. And you really need not just 10 but 100. These things, Trek and Specialized, have 100, 1 to 100, just like your iPhone. How much battery you have? 63%. So very important, I think, especially so you can know as you're using it what's your rate of use and how much do you have left. Like I mentioned, ring controller, Fatsuwa weaknesses, not there, not as tactile, not as dialed and robust as these other systems. As far as dealer support and price points, dealer support is okay. Pivot dealers are awesome, but there's just not a whole lot of them, but pretty darn good, even here in Northern California. And price points, not so good. 14 grand, 11 grand, and 8,000, 9,000. So not cheap, carbon only. Next bike we have is probably one of the oldest bikes in the line. It is the Orbea Rise in aluminum and carbon. It's a great bike. I mean, I know at least 10, 20 people who have that. So it's a great solution for many reasons, but it's kind of cross-country and it's kind of short. Basically, whatever the old Orbea Rise was 3-4 years ago, the new Rise is the same. They haven't changed anything. And that's super unfortunate because it was such a capable platform. And where they really scored is they have carbon and aluminum, and they have a 540 watt-hour battery. It just blows people away. Where it's weak is the motor is a heavy motor. It's an EP8 motor with just an electronic restrictor plate that throttles it to 60 Newton meters to get the range pretty good. But they do have an extender, 250 watt-hour extender. Just amazing combination. So that is a solution for a lot of people. The ride quality is okay. I mean, it's like they focused on XC, and their good suspension is pretty XC, and the people who are most happy with it are the ones who modify the suspension. So on this, I put a Marzocchi Air and the Fox 36. Now it's running pretty darn good. So the knocks on the Orbea Rise is there's a rattle. Shimano EP8, always going to be a rattle. And then the real knock on it is surprisingly, is the dealer support. The dealer support is very weak, and it's getting weaker. I'm hearing a lot of buzz about how Orbea tries to operate from Spain, and they treat their dealers in not favorable terms, make them prepay and all that jazz, and they're abandoning ship. Mike's Bikes abandoned ship on Orbea, even though they made a lot of money on it, and now there's almost no dealers in the Bay Area. We have a commuter bike dealer in Santa Cruz, and then Woodside Bikes in a massive area. All right, the other two bikes I want to discuss are the Heckler, Santa Cruz Heckler SL, and this bike is, in terms of descending, it is legit. Right along with the Levo SL, that's my favorite descender. I'm all like, the second I got on it, I'm all like, okay, let's do the rowdy, let's do the big jumps. I believe it's 150, 160 travel, but it's so cool. It's one of the best riding Santa Cruz e-bikes that I've tried, and I think what they've done with it is, unlike the Heckler, the full-size Heckler, is they really made it a lot more responsive, a lot more supple, not as much anti-squat. Just let the suspension work, because you have a motor anyway. And this thing at like 42, 43 pounds, so capable. I love it. It's mullet, it's dialed, it just rallies. In terms of extender availability and electronics integration, unfortunately, they have a plug, but there's no extender available yet. So when that comes, it's going to be a great day for Santa Cruz and Pivot, the SLs. So in terms of integration, like same as the Pivot, 5-bar system for your battery, and then this ring controller, not good. As far as a package is concerned, quiet, dialed, great dealers, the Santa Cruz dealers, and they're looking at this bike as I think it's one of the saviors. I think Santa Cruz is in a crossroads where they've always had the lead, always revered as the most lucrative brand, but now in e-bikes, they're kind of trying to crack the top 5. And with the Heckler SL, I think they're definitely crack the top 5, top 3. So one of my favorite riding bikes of this lineup. Price points, carbon only, kind of pricey. All right, the last bike on the line is the Transition Relay, the first one or the second one to come out with the Fatsuwa Ride 60. And this bike handles awesome. It's not as refined. When I was testing the bike, had a bunch of rattles and whatnot, but man, it handles good. And they do have a lot of packages. I think that's their key strength. You can go 170, 170. You can go mullet. So it's many things to many people. Very configurable, this bike. But at the same tone, it's not dialed for a particular size. If I was them, I would have just locked it in as a mullet and go 160. Just lock it in and go with that, because that's the configuration that is most interesting in this genre. But as far as handling, componentry, transition, they know what they're doing. These bikes handle very nicely. A couple weaknesses on this bike. One is extender. There's no extender, and there's not going to be an extender because they didn't put a port. There's no plug to plug in an extender. So it is what it is. And then the other issue that they have is that every time you charge the battery, you have to remove the battery from the bike. And this is really a big weakness. A lot of owners say, "Oh, I don't mind it." But I'm like, yeah, look at it as a lifetime commitment. It doesn't take that long to take the battery out, maybe a couple minutes. But look at that inconvenience over the life of the bike. I've never seen a bike where you have to take the battery out, even along my e-mountain bikes or e-commuters. That's just a mistake. And one of their pluses is you could remove the battery. Finally, my conclusion is it is a good day in the mid-powered line because there are options, and there's going to be a lot more options in 2024. My favorite riding bike is the Specialized Levo SL. So good for most applications. It has the best dealers, has the most sizes, most configurations, but it does have a couple of weaknesses. It's pricey, it's expensive, and the battery is 320. I mean, if it had a 430 battery, I'd probably declare this a winner already. That's how I feel about this bike. The other standout to me is the Pivot Shuttle SL. If you want a bike that is light, fast, and responsive, lots of power, lots of range. Pivot Shuttle SL. Can't go wrong. But if you want more trail, all mountain, probably not the one for you. And then if you want a versatile machine, the one that can handle the super rowdy, can have a lot of configurations, the transition relay, can't go wrong with that. Great company, they know descending really well, and with the Fatsuwa, that thing can climb and has range, and they have configurations as well. So that's the jack of all trades winner. As far as the Heckler SL, if I had to buy a bike right now with my own money, it would probably be the Heckler SL. You know, it's not perfect, but it is a great bike. It descends great, it climbs great, it's a great brand, kind of stealth, good dealers. I wouldn't call it so much as the winner of this shootout, but really it's one of the standouts. You know, I think Santa Cruz nailed that bike. Looks good, rides good, climbs good, so can't go wrong with that bike. Orbea, you can't go wrong either. Big battery, if you need the range and you only have $5,000, these things are alloy, they go on sale, and it's a good option to have. So there you go, my friends, for early 2024 mid-powered shootout. What do you guys think? Share your comments, your feedback with me in the section below. Thanks a ton, everyone.